Hello dear traders, it's Petko Alexandrov and I continue now with the counter trend line, which is the key point in this system that I will show you. And actually here I have forgotten in the previous lecture to rename the chart. So support and resistance, and we have now trend lines. I will remove the arrows because they are not needed over the chart. I use them just to show you how the trend is defined. Alright, I will save it and then I will take one line and I will show you what is the counter trend line. So the counter trend line goes against the trend. And let me go to the full screen again so it will be more visual. And here is the counter trend line. Now when I'm drawing counter trend lines, normally I go to the lower time frames in order to draw it more precisely. So let me just switch to hourly chart. Okay, and I will go now again to the full screen mode and I will have the counter trend line right here on the top. Okay, and you can see that when I draw it on the daily chart, it's not exactly on the tops, but I want to draw it at the right place. Okay, let me see if I am correct or not. Yeah, I think this is all right now. Let me zoom a little bit more to see it precisely. Yeah, okay. So the counter trend line starts from the most recent high, and I'm talking about if we're in an uptrend, and it connects the next lower high. So we can say it's a trend line showing down for the shorter term trend. But for the major trend, as we said at this moment we're in an uptrend, it's a trend line that goes against the trend. And here I will use it as an entry point if the price breaks through this level. And this is one of my 3 entry points which I will be using. So now let me give you some examples that I had over time, and I will go back to daily to find the examples faster. I will go to a full screen and I will try to find the examples. So the first example that I will give you was probably one of the strongest I ever had. And here was the biggest profit I did with the Bitcoin. It was right over here. Let me take one line. It was right over here connecting this low and the next lows. I was right over here. The price was going down. I was looking for the counter trend line, and here the price failed to break the low. Then another one. Actually, the first one I had was this one over here. Okay. This one over here, yep, this one. We were in a downtrend, a very strong downtrend with the Bitcoin, and then I had this counter trend line on the break of it. I took a trade, then I had another one right over here, and you can see the price touched it 1 time, 2 times, nearly 3 times, 4 times here, which made it very important. Then we had a good impulsive break, and I played this trade as well. Now here I had it over here. Okay, let me just do it a little bit more precisely. Here it is. So it was connecting this low first, because at this moment, okay, there was no other information, and here it is, should be drawn like that. Okay, here it is. Then I took my first trade over here. It was a fake signal. The price moved a little bit, but still my stop loss was above over here. And then when I had this low and this low, I just corrected these lines. Actually, I was having here different lines. It was something like that. Let me just try to show you what exactly I was doing. Okay, here I had one trade. Here I had one line because it's another counter trend line. And then here I had another one which was connecting this low, and it was connecting this one over here. Okay, this one just moved a little bit. Let me try to make it precisely. Okay, so starting point here, then I had this low, then I had this low over here, then I had this low, so 3 counter trend lines. and each time I entered into the trade. I entered one time here, then I entered one time here, then the price went sideways, and then when it broke, I entered one time here, and because it was 3 times, I didn't enter anymore, but you can see that there was another light over here. If I connect to this low, because I was connecting it to this low, but 3 times is where I stopped normally, adding to the position, and here just the price dropped extremely down, and here was one of the best profits I did with the Bitcoin, and I will tell you later on in the course how I take the profit or where exactly I take the profit. But this was like a fantastic move. I was waiting here quite a long time, to be honest, but I was strict to the system. I was drawing the counter trend lines. The other rules that I will mention later on were true right here, and everything was on my side, so I stick to the system, and right over here was my stop loss above the recent high that we had at this time. And I can give you much more examples, to be honest, especially before 2018 when the price was going up. There were many such examples that you can have a look at. Just to try to draw some lines which will help you to practice. Just go back in time and pretend that you don't know what happens in the future. Just look for the counter trend line, connect it, for example, from this high going through this high over here, and then another high. You look for another lower high. Now in this case you can see there is no place to draw the counter trend line on daily. If I go to hourly, there will be. This is why I'm telling you that normally I draw the counter trends on hourly, and here you can draw one trend line, and then if you just move forward you will see that you can draw many counter trend lines right over here, right over here. Right over here will be pretty difficult, I believe, and then just the price went up. Now when we are in a downtrend, same thing, we draw the lines opposite the trend, and this is exactly what I showed to you right over here with these counter trend lines. We are in a downtrend and we are drawing the line opposite the trend. So practice drawing the counter trend lines, it will help you. And one more time, it is better to do it on hourly chart, just as I did it right here with the current market. Let me go to the end and zoom the chart a little bit. Right here we have the counter trend line starting from the highest recent high, connecting the next lower high. And if it breaks, I will use it to enter into the trade. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions about the counter trend line, don't hesitate to ask me. Cheers!